from Abuja.
Hello, thank you for being a part of our show. We appreciate you. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and this is Magnus Kpakol GVA, Global Views Africa. As always, it's all about how we can raise the level of living. That's what it's all about. In view today, Nigeria holding it together. How can Nigeria hold it together in a volatile global economy? Today we tackle this topic in a discussion with Ambassador Joe Keshi, Vice Chairman, United Bank for Africa. Can we find solutions for Nigeria to be able to overcome the ongoing global challenges? But before that, in our hidden economics, the thank you economy. Now up next in our quick view, we see how some countries rank globally in kidnapping. That's coming right up. Kidnapping has become a real concern to international businessmen and women, and of course to governments really interested in attracting tourists. In some countries, such as the United States, a large number of children are said to be kidnapped each year. But these are generally abductions that take place, arising after separation or divorce, when one parent wishes to keep a child against the will of the other, or against a court order. Nowadays, there is something called KRE, kidnapping for ransom or extortion. This type is bad for international business. In this connection, which of the following countries is not in the top 4 in the world in ranking kidnapping for ransom and extortion? Afghanistan, Iraq, Nigeria, and Mexico. Which of the following African countries is not in the top 20 in the world in kidnapping? Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Somalia. Stay with us for our answers coming up shortly. Still in view, a discussion with Ambassador Joe Keshi on how Nigeria can hold it together in a volatile global economy. But up next in our hidden economics, the thank you economy.
Even if you no get it, never forget to say bye, thank you. Oluwa na go dey o. And if you to get it, never forget to say bye, thank you. Chineke na go dey.
Yemi Alade, the great Nigerian singer, is phenomenal in her hit song Nagode, featuring Celebobo. It is important that we thank God in everything. This should never be taken lightly. In addition, we should also learn to live a life of thanksgiving, where we appreciate our customers, leaders, constituencies, colleagues, and associates. It is unimaginable the economic benefits that can come when we constantly thank God and also engage each other in thanksgiving. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk of VaynerMedia has written a book known as the Thank You Economy. Vaynerchuk in his book shows how the thank you economy is built on the time-honored techniques of listening to and appreciating customers. I agree with Vaynerchuk and believe that people should try to look at the essential factors defining and driving successful relationships between businesses and consumers. You can only imagine how more successful our societies will be when it is continually a two-way street between not only vendors and customers, but also between bosses and subordinates, and between politicians and their constituencies. To be a successful society, we need to appreciate each other at all times. And in all this, we should always thank God for the experience of having each other. No one person is likely to easily do it alone. We have to learn to say nagode to each other, and especially to God, for making it all possible. Something that appears to be disappearing in our society today is simple courtesy. We are forgetting the power and value of courtesy. Check out the driving on our roads, and you will see immediately utter madness. What you see is zero courtesy, even when it should absolutely happen. Let's give courtesy in everything and be ready to say nagode. It is powerful. A thank you economy is promoting of more good deeds from people. Let's not just always look for how or what is bad. Let us be attentive to what is good and just say thank you. This can unleash so much more good to power our lives and drive our economy. Now, to promote our thank you economy, I say Chineke nagode, Oluwa nagode. Our hidden economics for you. Before we start our discussion, here are our quick view answers. Mexico is the country that ranks the highest in the world in kidnapping for ransom and extortion. Somalia is the African country listed here not ranked among the top 20 kidnapping countries in the world. To contact us for adverts and sponsorship, please see our information displayed on the screen. Can Nigeria overcome the many challenges facing it today? Some of the issues facing the country include low crude oil prices, declining foreign reserves with attendant problems, rising unemployment, serious post-electoral issues, the fight back of corruption, declining revenues for government expenditures, insecurity in high rates of robbery and kidnapping, and a dramatic return of the Biafra issue. To discuss all this, we have Ambassador Joe Keshi, a corporate executive and seasoned former diplomat. Please join me in our discussion with Ambassador Keshi. All right, Ambassador, thank you for being in our studios again. We're happy to see you. I don't even know where to start here because there are many issues that are trending out there on Nigeria. Like I said, I don't know. We're going to get to a bunch of them. But to you, which one is the real top issue out there today trending that's facing Nigeria?
Well, I think that today the major issue is trying to resolve the budget crisis. Obviously, because of the impact the budget could have on this country's, on Nigeria's development. The current regime came on board with the whole concept of changing this country. And so far, we've not seen a clear-cut direction of what they want to change. So the budget provides them the opportunity to begin to drive that change. Unfortunately, they've run into this crisis, which I believe probably at the end of the day was an honest mistake due to a number of reasons, the issue of time, and the fact that, we get enamored, or we fall in love with slogans in this country. And then we buy into it, and then we run with it. Nobody says, take a breath. What are you talking about? Everybody comes up overnight with a zero-sum budget. Patutomi was the first to say, when the budget came out, that you cannot prepare a budget, a zero-sum budget, in 2 months. Nobody listened. Soludo came out to say, listen, this budget is not too far from Jonathan's budget. It's like cut and paste. And ostensibly, I believe that, having been in government and having known the
you know how it goes,
the budgetary process, and you do know this too. I thought at that point in time, they should have taken a look at all the complaints, more because the budget gives them the opportunity to begin to drive change, particularly when they talk about trying to diversify the economy. Particularly because with the oil prices down, we just have to find something else to begin to that will give us that will increase, number one, foreign exchange, that will bring in the money that we use. So we can blame the governor of the central bank as much as we like for poor monetary policy and so on. The truth remains the guy can't print dollars. We can only make dollars if we sell. And I don't know right now we are not selling much.
The budget issue. Because you're right. I think that's probably the top thing that is trending out there. Everybody's talking about the budget. It is botched. Some people say it's padded. How it's just cut and paste, as you've said, and how it is not a zero-sum, a zero-based budget. How it's not a zero-based budget. So obviously there is a problem with the budget, and I agree. Because even the party, the APC, has admitted to that effect. The government has admitted to that effect that there are some issues. So what should they do now? Should the budget office say, okay, we need more time. Let's reconstruct this budget. Let's redefine it. Let's say it is zero base or it is not zero base. No. Give us another month or two.
Let's forget the slogan of zero base. The trend has been, heads must roll. Civil servants padded the budget. Look, no civil servant, in my view, will pad the budget after the president has presented the budget to the National Assembly. Beyond that, let's go through the budgetary process. I don't know what they did, but in our days, the Treasury, the Minister of Finance, maybe this time, maybe the Minister of National Planning, issues a circular and says this budget, next year's budget, 2017 budget, for example, will increase by 10, 20, or 25%. Almost automatically, the accountants, who are the ones who do this in the ministries and the MDAs, they sit down every line item in the budget, every line item. It doesn't make a difference. If you've completed the job you want to do 2-3 years ago, as long as that line item is still in the budget, automatically it's increased by 20%. What they should have done in the first instance is to say, look, we're going to do a zero-sum budget beginning from 2017. This year, we're going to try and begin the reform process of reforming the budget. And so you go through the budget and remove all the items that you don't want to find in the budget. That's number one. And they didn't do that. Number two, the budget, once it's finished at the ministry end, goes to the director of budget, who begins to work out the fine details, who gets what, and what we can give to each ministry. From there, it goes to the Federal Executive Council headed by the President. The President is the chairman of the Federal Executive Council. They agree on what the budget should be. They go through the budget, for goodness sake. And then before it's presented to the National Assembly, the buck must end on the table of the President and members of his cabinet. If they didn't do a good job, it's embarrassing to find...
I have to be sure that they did.
Yes, it's embarrassing to find a minister.
It's not possible that they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's embarrassing to find a minister go to the National Assembly and say, no, I didn't know about this, I'm withdrawing it. And then you blame the civil servant. No. My advice is very simple. Withdraw the budget, take another 1 month, look at it critically,
Yeah.
and then we send it back to the National Assembly. And for goodness sake, no head.
I think that
rule.
they should do that. And as you know, you're alluding to like situation in the United States, they have a very long period of time to work with before the budget gets implemented. They have, as you know, their fiscal year starting October 1 to September 30th the next year, and the president has to submit the budget between the first Monday of January and the first Monday of February. Sometimes they do it first week of February, and from that time they have like 8 months
to work on it.
to get the thing ready. In this case, our guys, as you said,
Under 2 months.
Have 2 months, so it's not a problem
within that
to
same,
take it back.
within that same period,
Yeah.
within that same period of 2 months,
Yeah.
permanent secretaries were retired.
Yeah.
A number of changes
Absolutely. There are a
took
lot of things that
over,
happen, yes.
in the system. New permanent secretaries came on board. Some of them apparently without enough experience to be able to manage the project.
Okay,
now, new ministers came on board. So I say it's an honest mistake.
Yeah.
It's been made.
Sure.
Withdraw the budget, go through it again.
Clean it up.
Get the guy at
bring
the DG budget
Yeah.
to take a second look at the totality. But the most important thing is that somebody, either the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Budget Planning, must first of all indicate where the government must go so that everybody keys in into the...
$38 a barrel is the reference price, unless they've changed it, and I didn't know.
Today, it's the oil selling for 27.
Yeah. So is that still realistic?
Absolutely not.
So how does that? So the budget to when we take it back, we need to correct that in your mind.
No, absolutely. Look, this is actually something they should have done and hinted the National Assembly. We are working on. Listen, you remember when the oil price started tumbling down? It was under the Jonathan administration. Rightly or wrongly, say whatever you like, Ngozi was assuring us that, listen, we're preparing 2, 3, 4 scenarios. If the price comes to this level, this is what we're going to do. If it goes to this level, this is what we're trying to do. If it goes to that level, this is what we're trying to do. I don't see why we shouldn't do that today again. Let's prepare a number of scenarios to say, look, if the oil goes down to 27, this is the adjustments we'll make. If it goes down to, I would actually say that, look, why don't you go down and basically just use 20 to start with? Any other thing you get out of that is savings.
APC and PDP. This is the first time that we have a sort of strong opposition party in the PDP, the formerly ruling party, now as an opposition party. Are they working together, in your opinion? What you see, do they look like these parties are working together for the interests of the country?
Well, I don't know about the interests of the country. At the National Assembly, they appear to be working together, but I'm not too sure whether it's in the interests of the country. It would take them time to really find a common ground, obviously, for so many reasons. And if you read an article by Chude Amuta, he actually drew this out about the APC not fulfilling its change mantra and not having a clearly defined roadmap, and the PDP itself not used to its new role as an opposition party. And of course, the PDP is still in crisis, which I believe and I hope that they can resolve sooner than later and become a very strong opposition. We need a strong, credible opposition in this country.
The PDP in the National Assembly, when I hear people talk, I'm not so sure, as you probably were trying to allude to, I'm not so sure that they've defined for themselves what their objectives are, like the things that they stand for.
The PDP?
Yes.
No.
So
no
so
party.
I don't know.
No party. Let's be honest with ourselves.
What they actually stand for.
No party stands for anything.
Well, but the APC stands for change.
What change?
No, the change from how it used to be.
Listen.
So what does the PDP stand for? I mean, that's what they have said. I'm just quoting what they said.
You are a Christian.
Yes.
And you have the Bible to guide you.
Yes.
Muslims have the Quran to guide them.
Yes.
Okay, if you go and look at the Republican Party or the Conservative Party, you will see clearly defined objectives of what they stand for. It is not enough to sloganize and say we stand for change. What kind of change do you stand for? What do you want to change? So the point I'm trying to make is that for the change that we want to see, it must be clearly defined. We must have a roadmap as to the destination, that this is what we want to do.
As if trying to fulfill some imaginary prophecy that many people had come to believe, Nigeria in 2015 careened to the edge of a dangerous precipice as serious and foreboding electoral issues began to hang an ominous cloud over the nation. Thankfully, then President Goodluck Jonathan made a historic and singular phone call to the then presidential challenger, Muhammadu Buhari, to concede defeat. As I've said before, this act brought national relief and proclaimed victory for the people of Nigeria and all of Africa. So now that the imaginary 2015 bogey has gone, what do we do with the real problems that face Nigeria? As you know, these include not just insecurity and corruption, but low crude oil prices and related problems in weak aggregate government earnings in the face of rising debt service. President Buhari remains dogged in fighting corruption, even as corruption appears to be pushing back, as some people are asking him to pedal softly on the matter. I think people should stand to encourage the president in this. If the president can stop the hemorrhaging, then he will find it easier driving faster. I trust the president's eye is on the ball because the economy is ailing critically. Economic growth has stayed below 4% for 3 consecutive quarters, after averaging near 7% for the past 10 years. If it turns out that annual real GDP growth for 2015 is about 3%, then it means real per capita GDP growth is basically stagnant, since the nation's population growth rate is about 2.8%. A stagnant real per capita growth rate is a real confirmation that there is rising unemployment and low income growth. Even so, I believe that Nigeria will rebound strongly from the ongoing malaise because it has basic tools in human and physical resources to work with. The real reason for much of the current disquiet in the country is that people are having a hard time adjusting to a new normal. Hopefully, our authorities will recognize, as we do here at the EBS, that a long-term solution for the Nigerian economy is getting our communities to be more locally and globally competitive. Our communities have to understand how to design economic programs that create jobs and raise incomes. The government, at all levels, should also understand how to get such community economic strategies started. After all, that is really what we mean when we talk about an enabling environment. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and that's my view.
Magnus.